On Vanguard Life, I am Precious Chukudi. We begin with the front pages of the papers this morning, starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Nigeria needs a $10 billion annually to fund SDGs, and that's coming from the federal government. The writer says the funding biggest challenge of SDGs, private sector must complement government, federal government must expand tax nets for more revenue. Government needs to leverage on technology to improve services. Infrastructure has to be revamped, and that's coming from UN representative. At Niger State's Green Economy Summit, we can see a photo story there. Aftermath of Vanguard's report, the federal government extends stay of recalled envoys by 3 months. The writer says that we have received AIE, but it is not cash backed, and that's coming from the envoy. 3 months too short. Agreement takes at least 6 months. Ex-ambassador. On sports, we have Osimhen. Boniface lead list of Nigeria's most valuable players. Stories above. Clark 6 expulsion of Abia, Imo, Ondo from NDDC. You can read more on page 12. Senate to probe a federal government's 11.35 trillion naira tamp of refineries. You can read more on page 9. Ground rent debt will step on toes. Wike tells defaulters. You can read more on page 25. Presidential poll. INEC must probe why upload of results to IRE failed, and that's coming from Jega. On page 19, tax exemptions waivers to cost federal government 12.4 trillion naira in 4 years. On page 4, alleged anti-party activity. All right, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with insecurity defies 261 NAS motions, 20 legislations, 12 trillion naira in 16 years. You can see an infographic showing all of that report. Our Senate reopens probe of 11.35 trillion naira tamp cost, 1.6 trillion naira loss on refineries. And on page 3, off-season polls, court judgment, impending preparation, and that's coming from INEC. And on page 3, Corporate Affairs Commission uncovers 189 fake companies. The electoral system and dangers of over litigations. You can read that on editorial page 12. And despite a 6.5 trillion naira spent on education in 7 years, federal government laments poor performance. Lagos doctor bags life imprisonment for defiling wives. Look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with federal government unfolds forex tax, jobs, investment policies. The writer says 260 taxes to be slashed to single digits. Merging of BDCs, forex apps, dealers into official FX markets. And we can see the key points of those discussions. Oil thieves deploy CCTV mortar launchers along pipeline routes. The writer says NNPCL security, we won't relent in battle against criminal. Akeredolu receives Sanwo-Olu, Makinde, Abiodun, Oyebanji. Ayedatiwa writes Chief Judge. Stories above. Land racketeering rocks FCTA. The EFCC chair orders the staff members to declare assets. Senate defends 160 million naira SUVs for National Assembly members. Lastly, on the front page of The Nation, U.S. courts reject a request for FBI reports on Tinubu. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with multiple taxation. Tinubu panel asks government to drop 190 taxes. OPS blames states. The writer says the panel okays 10 levies, 200 taxes burdensome. Lobbies the National Assembly states. President endorses tax reforms. Panel to address FIRS in pledges implementation. Stories below, we have a DSS nabs a suspected terrorist wife, recovers a 150 AK-47 rifles. You can read that on page 14. On pages 4 and 5, Lagos cancer doctor Olaleye bags life jail for rape. A slain Nigerian student, Philippines police file murder cases against the suspect, still on pages 4 and 5. Stories above, EFCC chair orders staff to declare assets. Senate probes 11 trillion naira refinery repairs, summons Kyari. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, reps fought CBN's forex ban lift, NECA kicks. And that's how we can take on the front pages of the papers this morning. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories On the front pages of the paper is our correspondent, John Alechin. He's going to be telling us more on some of the reports. And good morning, John. Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. Can you tell us about the ad hoc committee set up by the Senate to probe the expenditure of 11.35 trillion naira turnaround maintenance of the refineries?
So, well, yes, it's not particularly a new story, if you ask me, because the House of Representatives did a similar probe last year, and even sent a report, which was widely published. However, in the bicameral legislature that we have, the Senate is also free to conduct its own probe, and that's what they have decided to do on the same issue. It's really disturbing that we're spending huge amounts of money, that much. If you convert, because a lot of this maintenance, if it actually gets carried out, the things they use to do the maintenance, most of it is imported, and they use dollars. Foreign exchange is what they use to import some of those things. So if you convert, the conversion rate, give you that amount. This at its main, it's still a very huge amount of money, of taxpayers' money to spend on it's around maintenance that is never ending, if you ask, because none of these refineries that this money has been spent on have produced a drop of oil. And you keep getting reports that they spend X billions, that billions to do turnaround maintenance. And it's really worrisome. Of course, people are actually also concerned that in spite of all of these probes, at the end of it, the reports get dumped on the shelf. Nobody is brought to account. A lot of noise is made, and then it's business as usual. 4 years will roll by. The next National Assembly will come with the same, the same argument that they want to probe. Probing is not strange. It's not what the National Assembly does all the time. But then, what happens after the probe? Reports are submitted, recommendations are made, and then it goes cold. So until we start seeing a movement from indictment to people getting to actually account for their misdeeds, I think we'll just be going around in circles.
All right. The committee was given 4 weeks to submit their report. Do you see them meeting up the required time with due investigations?
In all honesty, my answer would be no. Having had some experience in the way the legislature works in Nigeria, the committee will start. Some of these indications will be extended to certain government officials. Some will not show up. Some will ask for extension of time. Some will tell you. So you keep. They have this system that some people will just pause the process. For some reason I cannot explain. Some of them say is like we are preempting some of the outcomes. But I see some aspect of hardly see any. There's rarely probes, of this nature, of this magnitude, because you're going to call IOC. Sometimes you might decide to call some IOCs, internal oil companies. They might invite government agencies. Call finance, you call that of petroleum, you call some technical people to come and give explanations. And then there are times you might even have issues of, now we're going into the budget season, for example. Once get the back. So by the time we start considering the budget, because the president is saying he wants the budget, he wants it ready by December, for example. We are in October is ending. I mean, the budget process is quite tedious. So if you have something as serious as a budget, competing with this probe that nobody knows where it will end, I do not see them doing this thing forward. Quite honestly.
Mm. Yeah. All right.
It will be a miracle. Let's put it that way.
Okay. In all the conversations as regards cushioning the effect of subsidy removal, there has been like a deafening silence with the government as regards, our refineries up until now. Why is that?
Well, they are way to end, if you ask me. There are two schools of thought. There are people who feel government has no business in business, and the last administration put all its hope, if you like, all of these eggs in the Dangote basket. And here we are, we're still here. No serious, genuine effort has been made to either repair this refinery or outrightly surprise them. Tell them to people who have the wherewithal to run them. But then, for some strange reason, it's been held on to by government. However, it is still very unclear why this is so, because we were told that the NFCT is now a private concern, private sector driven entity. We are yet to see that in practical terms, because we still have the National Assembly summoning MMPC, summoning everybody, and then Lele Kyari, the government appointee, is the one, like a liaison between the executive, the company, and the National Assembly. So it's like not a change of nomenclature. Things are still being done the way they used to be done. There's really, the change is only nomenclature, but it's just like asking, it's just like saying we have the Nigerian Correctional Service, replacing the prison service. Those who are in the system will tell you the name has changed, but there's rarely anything that has changed in the way that business is conducted. Whether we like it or not, there are people, individuals, and groups who benefit, who derive personal benefits from the way things are done at the moment. Because money is being budgeted to pay salaries and overhead costs. People still go on trips. People still give contracts. Whether or not anything is refined, monies are still being spent using the top head of refineries. So for some person, if you take that away, you have taken away the source of some easy money. And we're not talking of ordinary the cleaner or the office assistant here. We're talking of interest in government, those in the private sector who are acting as the head of those in government. It's a huge mess. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality.
All right, let's move on and talk about this one. Tell us about these SUVs that have caused the outrage in the quality.
Well, in Nigeria, the more things change, like we said, the more things change, the more they appear the same. We've heard kinds of now for the first time from the West spokesperson that committee chairman on the Senate services. This man is the one, a committee put in place to ensure the comfort and what have you of the senators. His explanation was this simplistic. Hey, what's all the noise about us having one SUV? Just an SUV. Why not focus on the executive? When you have a minister who is not even elected, he has 3 SUVs in his convoy of 5 or 6 horses. And if you consider the cost benefit analysis, the durability, this car is durable, and then won't spend so much on repairs. You see, because of the durability, our roads are bad. Once we spend this money on this vehicles, it will last us for this 4 years. I mean, taxpayers won't have to be taxed again. If you look at it in the long run, we're actually being considerate. That was the argument. Now, the argument on the part of civil society groups and other Nigerians is the fact that, look, here we are, the naira to the dollar exchange is about 100 and yesterday was like 1,200, $1. You have $1,000, you have like 1,200,000. That's crazy. Now, in the midst of all of this scarcity of foreign exchange, you are ordering vehicles in the millions of dollars. Now, depriving manufacturers, local industry, this exchange that they require to keep their businesses and Nigerians at work. People are also arguing that if we have a place like Innocent in Anambra, for example, we have Peugeot Automobile in Kaduna and other vehicle assembly plants. Call them assembly plants if they are not manufacturers. But then they are local. If you had ordered these vehicles from these people, first you will save forex. Second, you create jobs because for the period in which they have to assemble these vehicles, Nigerians will be engaged. People who sell spare parts, people who are working in the assembly, the ordinary people who sell toto and pole on the side of those factories. Somehow the economy will benefit. Now you're taking all of these monies out and then you're telling the ordinary persons to tighten their belt. The economy will work for you when you're talking of your own comfort. Now we were told some money was voted for palliatives and Nigerians have seen the funny jokes being turned around by some state government when a whole estate of thousands of people was given a 25 kg bag of rice to share. Now, in the midst of all of this, then you are looking at your personal comfort. A lot of people are saying it's just a picture of the level of insensitivity of people who have access to our common patrimony. Nobody's saying the lawmakers should go and should go cap in hand to ministries, departments, and agencies. But the public is really saying it can be less abstemious by with the kind of choices you make for these utility vehicles, as they call them. Because after 4 years, of course, they bought them, they buy them up. But then the explanation he also gave that one cannot discountenance is that the Senate or the National Assembly is owing a lot of money. In the business, I do not have the documents at hand. I'll have just quoted it. He actually said some of the vehicles bought for lawmakers in the 6th, 7th, and 8th Senate, the contractors are still being owed. So, because imagine, what the media did was to go into it, the world is a global village, as has been said. You look at the unit cost of those vehicles, in the international market, and then the cost the contractors are selling it to our lawmakers. So he was saying, look, the contractors are businessmen. The forex market is volatile. So you have to give them some less room to make money because they are giving you these things on credit. They're using their money to buy this, and then we hope that you pay, over time. So all of those factors, all of those things are factored in to arrive at the cost of those vehicles. That's why they are, call them a little, or call them a lot more expensive than you find in the open market. However, those who have who go to the market to buy, for women, men who are in business, if you buy things in bulk, you enjoy a certain discount. Nothing was said about that. Nothing was said about that. So if I say, look, all this noise about us buying utility vehicles should just stop. Your attention, to the National Assembly is unwarranted. You should look at the executive, go to the state. That's where there's waste. If our own, no, we need that. This is a local pigeon.
All right, thank you so much, John Alechini, for that detailed report. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you very much.
Well, let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. before we go. And Mrs. is speaking this morning. He says, I like men who are bold and ambitious. He's nursing the ambition of becoming an ambassador and telling everybody who cares to listen. And Mr. replies, Mrs. saying, he's making too much noise. There's a difference between nursing an ambition and noising an ambition. So, Mr. and Mrs., they always have a way they come at each other. This husband and wife thingy, this family palaver will never end. Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find out today's stories, go to our website, www.vanguardngr.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.